Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Jason Matouk here, and we're going to do a market update in the territory that I handle on the David Siddons Group, which is Boca Raton. We're going to be focusing on East Boca because you get that water frontage and ocean access that a lot of the buyers are really wanting. And the first one we're going to be talking about, Royal Palm Yacht Country Club. Now, Royal Palm Yacht Country Club has some ridiculous houses. You see houses over $30 million for sale. Not too far from the ocean. It's a guard-gated community, but it's not privately owned. Anybody can drive in and out, but they're really hands-on. If you drive through there and they don't know you, they'll stop and ask a question, and they also patrol and keep the neighborhood safe if they see an idle car outside. They're really on it. The first house we're gonna be talking about is 212 Alexander Palm. Now this home, asking $22.8 million, has 6 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, 9,029 square feet. Now the layout of this home was incredible. You had a huge kitchen, huge living room. The main suite had tons of space. There was a loft upstairs. It's pretty typical of what we see in Royal Palm for these newer builds. The one drawback that I've heard from some buyers is they don't like to be facing Capone Island. Has a theory that it was owned by Capone. It's an island just behind the neighborhood, and at night, you could imagine being on that canal facing the trees. It could be, a little interesting, but for me, I don't see a problem with it. In my opinion, no one being behind you just means privacy. Now you get 100 feet on Royal Palm Waterway. It's a completely smart home, and again, this home is just minutes away from the beach. Now I'm gonna pass it on to David so he can break down some of the numbers.
Right now, if you look for the luxury homes in the Boca market, over $10 million, there's about 50 homes for sale. 22 homes sold in the last year, which gives us around 25 months of inventory. That is, for the $10 million plus market, quite solid, quite stable. The top dollar per square foot in the market is $3,700 a square foot, which was one sale at 1788 Royal Palm Way. But typically, the high-end product is around $2,500 a square foot. The first house, obviously, that you talked about was 212 West Alexander Palm. And this house, it's still for sale. It's still on the market at $2,508 a square foot. Now, the reason that might be is because it's actually not an SRD home. It's by a group called Albanese & Son, which is a good builder, but they're not as dominant as SRD in that territory. Now, it's on a canal facing a preserve, and so because it doesn't have that open water view, it's not as desirable as those intercoastal views that you get from other parts of Palm, where obviously you'll see prices that will go up quite a lot. And it was not a particularly large lot for the price. It was 9,000 square feet inside, but the lot wasn't a half-acre size lot, which is obviously what you would expect once you're getting into that very higher number, or you want to be on that intercoastal and have that intercoastal view. And that particular house had been on the market since 2024, so it's quite high priced.
Now moving on from Royal Palm Yacht Country Club, we're actually going to just jump over the intercoastal and take a look at Spanish River Road. Now this whole neighborhood, I highly recommend to people when they're looking in Boca for those bigger homes, those 6-bedroom, brand new construction, basically what you're looking for in Royal Palm. But for those people who don't want to look in Royal Palm, this is actually treated like the sister of Royal Palm. However, you don't get patrolling security, but you still get those grand homes and that new construction. Now, in my opinion, this side's a little bit more attractive because you don't have to deal with that bridge if you want to go to the beach. Whereas if you live in Royal Palm, sometimes that bridge goes up and it delays you quite a bit, but that's just very minor. And so we're gonna focus on one of the houses that sold along Spanish River Road in the estate section, 1131 Spanish River. Now this was a controversial sale. For some reason, a lot of people don't like the home. A lot of people do like the home. I thought the home was amazing. They took this home that was built in 1997 and essentially redid the entire thing. Ground up. It was pretty much a brand new construction when it was done. You have a huge open concept. You had the most incredible pool area and view. Every feature, every room. It was just done, I think, exactly the way I would have done it. You got 6 bedrooms, 8.5 bathrooms, 9,000 square feet. It sounds very similar to Royal Palm. And it ended up selling for a steal. $12,300,000 from its original $14.75 million asking price.
It's on the estate side of Spanish River, bigger and better homes. And that area, though, it's not gated, but it gives you kind of Coral Gables vibes. That side of Spanish River is the same as when you cross over to the other side, which is also not gated. So it does propose a lot of value. It was a Mediterranean home, which is what held it back, and I think that's why the price was where it was and why it sold at 12.3, a little bit below its original asking price that was around 15. But these Mediterranean homes do sell cheaper, and in the end it traded for $1,372 a square foot.
Now, just like Royal Palm, just like Spanish River, there's actually another neighborhood that offers beautiful, brand new, bigger homes, but this time it's privately gated. You physically have to stop at the gatehouse, give an ID, and they check every single person who comes in, and they will call to confirm that you're allowed to be there. So right there, that is a huge perk of this neighborhood, especially if you're a celebrity or you have a name that, you know, it's very easy to find where you live. This adds a little extra layer of security for you. They also have patrolling security in the water. That's right. If you're out by the pool, sometimes the security will boat around the neighborhood in their sanctuary boat and just give you a hello, how are everything doing? Just keeping an eye on the neighborhood, which is amazing. And just adds a further level of security for the neighborhood. And the house we're focusing on in here is 650 Turn Point. Now, out of the 3 previous homes I just mentioned, I think this is probably my favorite. You get the same stats as the previous homes. You get 7 bedrooms, 8 bathrooms, 2 half bathrooms, 9,000 square feet, and at the time was pretty much a brand new build. The drawback to this one, it was on the canal side of the neighborhood, so you had a kind of limiting docking area, and the view was not as nice as obviously the open intercoastal. But I will say the design of this home, impeccable. You walk in, you have these grand ceilings, you had an executive office, you had this fireplace that was like the centerpiece of the home, the kitchen, the bedroom of this home blew my mind. You had so much space, incredible views. You had a gym with its own wing in the property. I mean, everyone I showed this house to loved it.
Values in the sanctuary have actually skyrocketed, and open views on the intercoastal, you'll see $30 million homes starting to be listed in that market for these wide open views. That house, 9,000 square feet, still had ocean access, really a great home at 14.3. What else is selling in the market? Well, there was 336 East Key Palm Road. That was asking 17.5. Larger lot, which was 25,000, also on the water, an SRD home of nearly 9,000 square feet. And Royal Palm is definitely the neighborhood that everyone talks about in the luxury market in Boca, but it's obviously not the only one. The sanctuary is definitely worth mentioning. But Spanish River Road, this is really the key takeaway. There's no bridges to the bay. There's enormous expansive water views, and the lots are really big. The 2 most prime properties right now on the market is 2633 Spanish River, which is at $35 million, and 1175 Spanish River, which is listed at $31 million. Both of those homes are listed by us at Douglas Elliman, the broker Douglas Elliman, and that is reaching a whole new level of luxury. This market is really heating up. The migration from the Northeast, from New York, a lot of impetus is coming into that market because waterfront relative to what you'll pay down in the other neighborhoods that the David Siddons Group covers, places like Coral Gables, Gables Estates, Old Cutler Bay, or the Venetian Islands, or Indian Creek Island, or Sunset Islands, the home prices there are much, much higher. We typically see homes trade anywhere from $4,000 a square foot to $5,500 a square foot, which is pretty much what the ceiling is within our market right now. Although that neighborhood up to this point has seen dollar per square foot around $2,100 as that kind of more towards the top end, I foresee Boca having a new surge, and I think we're going to see more than one $30 million sale in the next 12 months. I think we're going to see a number of sales, and I think they're all going to be focused around the Spanish River Road area. If you'd like more information, again, give us a call. Jason, it's back to you.
Now, just kind of summarizing everything we talked about, if you want the name that's in everyone's mouth and you love the SRD build, which is a very beautiful build, you're going to want to be in Royal Palm. Now, if you're looking to custom build your own home, if you don't want to deal with patrolling security, if you want to be closer to the beach, but still get the same perks on the intercoastal for a fraction of the price as Royal Palm, then you want to be on Spanish River Road. If your priority is being as secure as possible and you want that gate guard, but you don't want to sacrifice the views or the build, then you could move into Sanctuary. But again, each of these areas have their own pros and cons. And David and I would be happy to explain them to any future buyer or potential seller that would like that insight.